it right outside the main entrance where people go in. Number 2 is directly to the left of that door. 3 and 4 are on the other side. That is the where the door to the Murray Kelly wing is. And then 5 is out front. And I just drove around the building before I came over, and pretty much 3 and 4 is what it looks like now. And 1 is happening. I mean, there's already a lot of weeds and crabgrass. So I know we can do better than this, and I know this is not the face that we want to show when people come over to that building. So I guess my first question is, and I don't know if you're going to respond or not, but, and that is, who's responsible for the maintenance, the landscaping around the buildings? I'm not talking about cutting the grass, that's the easy bit. It's the weeding, it's the trimming of bushes, getting rid of dead bushes and, whatnot.
Thank you. Brendan Egan, our department is, and we rely a lot of times on the weeding and the trimming of hedges and things like that. We rely on volunteer groups to help us. We have, as you probably know, lots of Burlington companies that, here in Burlington, and we get a lot of calls for volunteer efforts, and those are perfect things for them to do. Yes, we get behind when we don't have a lot of groups that come and help. So we actually have one in the next 2 weeks coming out. I actually think it's in my report tonight to help us with that. We've had already a group this year that came and did all the beds up front.
Yes.
But they do grow back pretty quickly.
Yes. Right.
So it is something we're working on, trying to stay on top of things more than we have as far as the weeding and shaping of the bushes and things like that.
Okay.
So,
yeah, because this is pretty
yes.
miserable. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And at one point, I believe, on the far side of the Murray Kelly wing along that, there was a garden club that maintained that, and maybe a senior gardening group that's no longer there. So sometimes when lots of nice things get planted, and then they get overgrown quickly, it's trying to decipher what is good to stay and what needs to come out. But that is an area that will get attention in the next couple weeks. It's on our plan of places that we have people coming in to help. It still falls on our staff, and I take responsibility for that.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Brendan. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Let's see, public participation. Brendan, bring us over to the director's report.
Yes. I'm just going to upfront say my reading glasses broke as I took them out, so I'm going to struggle through this a little bit.
Would you like me to hold it?
I might use, I'm not sure which is better. I might use my reader on my phone, my magnifying glass, but I'll try to go through these. So our maintenance team is welcoming the addition of seasonal staff at this time, which will also help with some of the issues that Ms. Sickler brought up. And they come in, a lot of them work on our cutting crew and trim crew, and are operating weed whackers, mowers to stay on top of things. Our staff worked an overtime shift recently at Varsity Field prior to graduation, getting the property ready, cutting the whole property, the whole school, high school property. We also had some additional shifts getting caught up on some of the other school properties, Memorial, and Pine Glen and Fox Hill as well. They've been trying to stay on top of the cutting, trimming, field prep work, utilizing volunteer groups as well, preparing the wading pool for the season, and installing some benches. We received some positive feedback, a compliment from Burlington Baseball Softball about the condition of the fields this year, that they really handled the rainy spring that we've had, and they haven't had to cancel a lot of games, so they were very happy with that. One of the benches that we spoke about, or that I mentioned earlier, was the bench for Paul Raymond that went in front of the Town Hall Annex, and we were able, Kelly and I were able to attend the ceremony that they had for Paul, and we still had his name plaque from when he was a Recreation Commissioner, so we were able to present him with that and talk with Paul for a couple minutes. And then also, while we're on maintenance items, I don't know if anyone noticed, on Friday, we lost a large tree on the town common, right to the left of the veterans' flags. It had 3 trunks to it. One of them had rotted in the base, one of them fell over, but everything had to come out. So it was beyond capability of our staff. We had to call in a tree company. They came in Saturday and cleaned everything up, ground the stump out, had some really large roots that went into the ground. So in order to do it right, they had to grind those out. Some of them had started to pull out of the ground. So there is a gap in the landscape, so you can really see the gazebo really well from the Town Hall Annex now. So one of those unexpected things, and it was all on Thursday afternoon. We also lost a limb in front of the Grandview Farm, fell across the path there. As they got that cut up, the other one fell on the common. It wasn't super windy, but it was windy enough, and I think, the rot in the tree was enough with that wind, to knock it down. So the next item is the town capital plan. We recently met with members of town administration, capital budget, ways and means, school administration, and town departments to look at the town's capital plans. The meeting was really the first kickoff in a process of looking at the evolution of the capital plan and creation of an ad hoc committee through the town administrator's capital planning group, and the current process has proven successful over the years, but some change to the original process needs to be made as the requests have gotten larger and over the last few years. So as the group continues to meet, I will keep you informed on progress. But the positives that I took out of it is that our projects that are on the 10-year capital, beyond those requests that we used to just ask for 200, 250,000, are on there and are being talked about. Park improvements, field improvements, those larger projects that we had, I don't want to say discouraged from asking before, but they're on that plan and they're being talked about, which is great. We're excited about that. So we all know the town is looking to build a new police station, and the temporary station will be going down to the Vinebrook treatment plant. I recently met with town administrator and assistant town administrator and one of the construction staff from the project of retrofitting that into a temporary police station, and they were looking for our staff to do some grading and looming around the disturbed areas down there, and just a general cleanup of the property. So we will be assisting with that. I think this week we're looking at Thursday night, Wednesday or Thursday night, to do that. And there's piles where there was construction debris down there that's been cleaned up, and then it was all overgrown around it, cleaning those up, looming and seeding sections of it that were disturbed, and then cleaning up a pile of debris there, branches and things that had collected over time. It's not a property that we were maintaining previously. I believe it was through the water department, had, whether they had cemetery mowers, it was under DPW, whether they had cemetery mowers or water department had some mowers that they maintained that property with. That is not one that we have been, but I'm guessing that when the police station closes and they temporarily move down there, since we're not maintaining the police station, we'll probably pick that one up. But that, we're still working on that, on the details on that. Excuse me. Modular classroom. Each summer, we get a modular classroom trailer that's brought up to Simons Park that houses our subset of their therapeutic rec program there at Simons Park, and it's a great resource for the therapeutic rec program. It allows participants who may be receiving services to come inside and have a more relaxing area, less sensory stimulating experience, because Club Simons can be very stimulating. It's a very exciting program. So that is being delivered tomorrow. The town electrician, we have a temporary hookup there in a meter. Town electrician hooks that up. We also have a accessible ramp being installed to the trailer. They will be here on Friday. So it's all anticipation of our summer programs beginning in 2 weeks.
So you mean June 17th, not July 17th?
Yes, did I say July? June 17th.
Oh, you wrote July.
Oh, I did. Pushing the summer already. Yes.
Don't do that.
June 17th. Thank you, good catch. Volunteer groups, I mentioned before when Ms. Sickler was here that we get a lot of calls this time of year, starting in February, and trying to pace them out and find different projects for them to assist with. And just recently, in the last 2 weeks, we worked with a team from Wright Pierce, which is an engineering firm here, on cleaning up some of the beds at the sub-fire station down on Terrace Hall, and they were able to complete a portion of it, and they're looking to come back, and we're going to have them work on the rest and get that area cleaned up. We also had a group from Simons Properties, which is the mall, came and weeded out the Marshall Simon School sign, as well as there's a planting bed at the bottom of Winnan Center where the Town of Burlington sign is, and they worked on that. We have to go back and do some more on our end that was beyond their capabilities, but we're thankful for both of those groups. And then we have, I mentioned it earlier, we have the North Face store wants to come out, and we're looking at next week to come out and work around our building. Again, I have 2 more volunteer groups. The North Face wants to come back in July and do another event, which is great. And then I have a group from, who developed our software? Salesforce, that I'm working with now as well to come out, and they're a larger group, so we'll find a larger project for them to assist with. The wading pool, as I briefly mentioned in the maintenance update, our staff was getting the wading pool ready to open, and the wading pool passes have been a very popular item in our office for the last couple weeks to a month in anticipation of the opening. The pool was cleaned out, power washed. Certain areas were ground. Some small cracks were repaired. The whole surface was repainted, and the pool was filled. And we had an inspection last Thursday, the 12th, and it passed inspection. And the pool opened this weekend on the 14th, and just in time for some overcast, rainy weather. It was a weekend, so it had to be overcast or raining, or both. So the pool did open this weekend, passed inspection, and so we're hoping for another successful wading pool season. That's it for now.
All right, thanks, Brendan. Any questions or comments?
I got one.
Of course.
Brendan, I'm just wondering, whenever this subject of the temporary police station comes up, I like to ask whether or not you're in any type of conversations with the town hall about maybe ceding that property to us when the police move into their new building, so that we could use it for, who knows, pickleball or whatever we want to use it for.
So I did mention that on my tour. I did get a tour of the inside as well. It's all framed out for offices and space, and I think they're going to use it as some transition space for other offices. The big wide open area is not there anymore. I asked if it was coming down, and they said, no, we'll probably use it for some other offices. I did remind them of our last town administrator who mentioned pickleball. So I think they're probably going to use it for some other office space because they are crunched at town hall as well, at least in the immediate future. we're talking a couple years out. Maybe things change by then, but you can count on it that I will keep that bug in their ear.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I think that's all I have for this part of your report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anything else?
One quick question, Madam Chair. Brandon, the modular classroom trailer, I know we've talked in the past of maybe permanently putting one up there. What was the, I forget, like when we do Simon's Park over, I know that's on our capital budget. Was that something that we could put in, that's going to be a permanent install? I know because that's something we do every year, is bring up the
Right.
trailer up there. And then we could use it maybe, if we get a permanent space up there, we could use it during the winter also for classes and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah, so the estimated value on this, and I don't know how new this one is like $83,000. I only know that because we had to get insurance for it, so we had to add it to the town's insurance. So we have talked about really opening up space at the Visco building for more programming, because right now we have preschool programming up there, and the room's set up, and it stays set up for preschool. I mean, we can look at a more permanent solution. That one, has a, what do you call it, mini split as far as heat. It's all electric, so for AC, it's, running off the electric. We'd have to do some more permanent electric up there as well for that area. And is that the area we want it? Behind the building.
Right.
Would we like it up front maybe more, or where can we go with it as far as
Well, in
on
the
the
past,
property,
we've
if it
talked
stays
about
on the
maybe
property?
purchasing one, because renting it every summer.
Yeah.
And then maybe it'd be a cost savings to us. We
It
purchased one.
could be in the long run, something we can explore definitely as a little more permanent option.
Okay. That's it, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Ryan, did you have something?
No, I'm good.
Sorry, okay. All right. Kelly, Assistant Director.
Thank you. So I'm going to start with Overlook. So we're excited to say that we received all of the necessary permits for the Overlook project. We received the approval from Stormwater, the Stormwater plan from both the Conservation Commission on May 22nd and the Board of Health on May 27th. We also, I didn't write it in there apparently, but the Planning Board approved it on June 5th. Work has continued to finalize all the amenities so that Weston and Sampson can prepare the final project specifications, and we're hopeful to receive them soon so we can go put the bid specifications together and go out to bid for the project, with hopefully construction starting in the fall. Additionally, not in here, we on Friday submitted a grant to the Massachusetts Office of Disability to try to secure some funding for the walkways and the additional accessible parking and the pour-in-place surfacing for the playground. We submitted for the max amount, which was $250,000. We had to, no, that was a straight up grant, it wasn't matching, sorry. So we are hopeful that we receive that funding. We will see, we'll be notified in the fall about that. Professional development, we had Toro brought out their autonomous mower on May 29th. These mowers run off GPS and do not require an in-ground wire, so they sort of like a Roomba in your living room. It mows the grass in that same kind of manner. So a number of our staff members were able to stop by and check it out. And the technology is really, really interesting, and it's very interesting to kind of see the mower kind of go and do its own thing. And it's certainly something we could look forward to down the road. Not quite sure the technology is where it needs to be right now for us, but it's a really great concept. In addition to that, in cooperation with the UMass Transportation Center, we were able to host a 2-day chainsaw training course at Grandview Farm in Overlook. The course covered basic safety equipment and measures, protective equipment, how to fell trees, the chain tooth parts of the saw, just kind of going over all the necessary things to be able to cut down some trees. So the second day was spent at Overlook, and the participants of the class were able to fell a tree, which is pretty cool. We're working on coordinating the follow-up course, which is a storm damage removal course, where they will cut up those trees and actually like have them prepared and ready to go off site. So we are excited about that. The programming and therapeutic divisions are still preparing for summer, as I talked about at the last meeting. They held directors camp on June 3rd through 5th, and it was very well attended. The majority of our directors were able to be there in person, and they got an in-depth look at our expectations for the summer. They held an open house for parents to come and chat with directors about their program, familiarize their child with the director, so on day one it's not as scary. And then the third day, they had a training with Chris Thurber, who chatted with them about how to call a parent, what information to say, how to handle difficult conversations. And it was very well received. Our staff, our directors really liked it. They got a lot out of it, and we received a lot of positive feedback. Up next is our summer orientation, which is next week. Monday, we hold specialized kind of training in the form of first aid and CPR and handle with care for those staff who need it. And then Tuesday, we bring all of our staff in and we review Burlington Parks and Rec expectations, what we want to see from them over the summer. And then they meet with their directors. The directors set their expectations for the summer. And then they go and they start setting up their program for the start the following week. Wednesday will be a series of trainings. Wednesday's pretty inclusive heavy with trainings from the National Inclusion Project and Mass General Hospital coming in to talk about inclusivity and how we can make sure everyone feels welcomed and valued. Additionally, there'll be sessions with the Burlington Police Department, the Burlington Youth and Family Services, and the Board of Health about sun safety, how to make sure we are all safe at their locations, and when and how to report child abuse should the need arise. And then Thursday, we bring in some full-day staff. Chris Thurber is coming back to chat with our full team. And Steve McGuire is coming back. He is a Burlington native who has done a lot of camp training across the Commonwealth in New England. We're very excited to have them. So it should be a great week, full of information, and our staff should be prepared for the following week when programs open. As far as special events are concerned, we held the Great American Campout on June 6th to 7th at Simons Park. There was 21 families who registered for the event, but as with any weekend or leading into the weekend, there was the threat of rain. So we had probably between 45 and 50 people actually show up. There was about 10 tents in the section that everybody decided this year to camp on the field. So there was about 10 tents in that triangle section where the two fields meet on the lower field. Families had a great time. Everyone who was there really enjoyed the games and activities that our staff planned. And I know our program team, Andrew and Jeff, with our intern Kylie, really worked hard to make sure that there was a diverse program offerings, and there was people doing things all over the park. And it's great to see. So we want to thank them for all their work on that. And then just a list of upcoming special events. So family concerts kick off next week on Tuesday. Children's shows will kick off next Wednesday. And then we also do children's shows starting on July 3rd when Club Simons open on Thursday afternoons. And then the Rohannes Park Open is July 12th and 13th. And we close out the summer special events with Celebrate Burlington on August 2nd.
Thanks, Kelly. Any comments, anything for Kelly?
I have questions for Kelly, just one or two, Kelly.
Yeah.
Overlook Park, good job on applying for additional fundings. I think that's exciting. You said something about the fall, when the project would get started. When is it expected to be completed?
Completed. We're estimating between July and August of '26.
Okay.
We have to expend all of the federal money by December of '26, so we're on a bit of a timeline, but we gave us a little bit of room there, so hopefully it'll work out.
So it'll be going out to bid at the end of June or early July? and then
Probably late July.
Okay. So we'll know sometime in the summer who the successful bidder is, and
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Hopefully by the end of August, we'll know.
okay.
Middle to end of August. It's going to have to go out for 3 weeks. We're finalizing the specs now. Weston and Sampson is doing all the construction documents. So once they got through the planning board the other night, they could really finalize everything. So,
Good. Just a quick follow-up, Brendan or Kelly, on, I attended the first planning board meeting, and they had a few conversations about maybe doing some stormwater management off-site. We didn't end up doing that, did we? All right, thank you. Good.
Anything else for Kelly?
No?
I just want to add, and Kelly touched on it, our program and therapeutic rec team put together really a phenomenal orientation for both our directors and the staff. And I think Kelly started that when she was on the program team along with Emma 4 or 5 years ago, really revamping our orientation and doing a director's camp. And it's not the same thing every year, right? They put a lot of work into it. I just want to make sure that you guys know what kind of work our staff puts in, making sure that they're giving up-to-date department information and helpful information to our staff that are going to be in charge of everybody's children during the summer. And hopefully we're preparing them for every situation. I will tell you, it's very thorough. And then when we bring in these speakers and presenters, they're researched. Some of them come back year after year because the staff reacts to them, but they're not doing the same topic every year. They're changing it around. So really is a good opportunity for our seasonal staff to learn something, but also I do want to recognize the program and therapeutic team for what they put into it. It really, they put a lot of work in. So.
Madam Chair, so I was going to say something when we end the Kelly report, but so I'll say it now. But Brendan said, so I've been on the board for a little bit. When Kelly would talk about orientation, when she just talked about the orientation for the whole week, I think he used to do it for a day maybe, or it was one day. And then when Kelly said, "Oh, we really got to ramp it up," and when we have Emma's involvement and it's huge. I mean, it's a full week. So I will say that from where it was to where it is now, the training that you give the staff, I know that the kids that do attend these summer camps, the staff is well trained. So to the people out there that are sending the kids to these camps, know that the staff has gone through a unbelievable orientation program. So know that your kids are safe and well informed. Good job, Kelly. So,
Thank you. It was really Emma, though, I'll be honest with you.
I know. I said Emma, but
No,
Emma's never here.
No, I know that, right? But Emma attended a training. She attended the American Camping Association training out in Portland, Oregon, one year. And she came back and she was so excited about revamping orientation and really providing the staff the tools that they need to be able to successfully offer programming. And her and I had a conversation. I fully believe in it. I fully believe in the training that we give our staff here. And I think it makes a world of difference, not only for the participants, but for the staff as well, right? Like, at the end of the day, we're looking at our retention rates over the last several years, and where they were before versus where they are now are night and day. Like, our staff really love working in the summer in Burlington, and that's what we want. And when we have those returning staff, we're able to reinvest in them year after year, and the trainings that they get are a little more intensive because we can, because we have the same staff coming back year over year. So all the credit to Emma for really pushing and leading that charge. She is the brains behind the operation for sure.
Congratulations, Emma.
Yeah, congratulations.
One quick comment and
Yes.
follow-up. That's why it's so important for us to support professional development. When you folks say you want to go to Tennessee or Nashville, or wherever it might be for professional development and a weekend of it, the things that you bring back and all of the good that it does is well worth the small investment that we make for professional development. And, they talk a lot about best practices, and it looks like we're doing that right here in Burlington, so good work.
Do have to say, too, we've seen some of our colleagues in surrounding towns, their orientation has also increased beyond one day, or 4 hours, right? It's gotten a little bit more in-depth, and I think that's probably, again, Burlington has always had a history of being a leader in those type of, recreation in the field, and I think we can point to that. I won't name the departments, but I do know that there are some that are expanding based on what we offer, so.
No, it's definitely great, the value you put towards, your seasonal staffers. They are basically on the front lines of, a lot of the parents and the children in town. I mean, that's sometimes the only, or the first interaction some of these parents and children get with recreation department, so it's great. And the retention that you have, I mean, my kids, even now, will run into somebody and be like, oh, yeah, they were my camp counselor for 3 or 4 years. That, it really, it speaks to the value of being able to, to get that education for those, staff members.
Yeah, it definitely has shown its worth, its value here for us. I definitely support both the director's camp and the orientation structure being the way that it is.
Great. And I also want to make sure that we give props to Jeff and Andrew. Because
100%.
they do a great job. I think it was basketball, granted, this was, back a few months ago, but someone said, oh my gosh, they're doing such a great job organizing this and trying to revamp basketball. But they really do a great job, with Great American Campout and all the other programs they work on. They put their heart and soul on it, and it's the citizens of the town have really noted it. So I want to make sure that they get some recognition as well.
Yeah, we really do have a great team.
We do. We do.
All right. Is that it for Kelly? Okay.
So,
I don't have anything for the chairman's report. Are there any subcommittee reports?
I guess this is a subcommittee report you guys are
Yeah.
interested in. So the Marshall Simons Field Committee voted to engage in a somewhat of a redesign with a reduced footprint due to wetland and riverfront buffer zone concerns, the Marshall Simons Field project. We have not decided on the new layout, features, things like that. We had an initial discussion last week. The engineer is going to present some more options at our meeting that's coming up July 10th. After that, we'll get one feedback loop of items to be placed, where to place them, so on and so forth, and then move forward with that. Hopefully get it to conservation for the August meeting, and then go out to bid sometime late August. There has been questions asked about whether we think it's going to be done this year. As the chairperson, I'm not willing to make that push, because we took 2.5 months, almost 3 months to design the previous field. We're doing a complete redesign, and I don't want to rush that process for the $4.7 million that's been allocated to that effort. So we're going to take a very deliberate look at it, make sure we cover all the bases we can, and get the most out of the field space we have left with the funds we have available. There was some talk about alternate features, add alternates. So some really exciting stuff. It's a little disappointing we can't get the other field, but I think we're going to come up with a really good project in the end.
Sure.
I just want to thank Jeremy for all the hard work he does on that subcommittee. And I was kind of curious, Jeremy, there's a little stream back there. Does that invoke the jurisdiction of the Rivers Protection Act and the Army Corps of Engineers?
So as you're looking at Brushfield, if you're looking from the parking lot of Brushfield, the left side is the riverfront buffer area. That body of water is considered a riverfront, and the town bylaws are subject to that. So by federal law, we can build right up to 1 inch from that buffer in the bank of that. But by town bylaws, there was a 50-foot no-build 200-foot buffer. And on the right side, as you're looking at it, there's a wetland area that has remanifested, and it was too large of an area to recreate, so we just can't get to 2 full fields the way we had planned it.
So the town bylaw was more restrictive than the federal regulations?
Correct, for the riverfront. The wetland was a different concern because it was just too large of an area to recreate. And then we just ran out of space to be able to do 2 fields.
Did we ask the Conservation Commission for like a waiver or a variance on their wetland or
We
their
did,
riverfront?
they were not, we did several times actually, and it didn't work out. And then going to the Corps of Engineers would delay the project 12 to 18 months, probably increased the cost somewhere around $300,000. So all things considered, I think the committee made a fiscally wise choice to, move forward with a reduced footprint, just because the cost would have been a little untenable at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Does that reduced footprint reduce the cost, or is that going to stay the same?
So our initial projection is there is about a $900K cost variance. Again, without the features being placed and understanding the size of the features we're putting in, there's going to be some change in that number. But the initial projection is $900K difference. Because of that, there's been talk of some additional parking, doing a pervious parking surface up at the top of the hill, things like that. We have to, A, figure out if it fits within scope, and B, really what the appetite is for that. And I think returning money is always, or never a bad idea for the town to come in under budget with a really nice field.
That's true.
So we're going to weigh all those options very carefully.
It's too bad.
Anything else? Yeah. Anything
I
else?
don't have anything.
Okay, thank you. New business.
Okay. The first item for new business is the Parks and Recreation Month proclamation. July is Parks and Recreation Month, and the effort was launched in 1985. This year marks the 40th anniversary of Park and Recreation Month. Each July, we celebrate park and recreation professionals and how they improve the lives of tens of millions of people, making a lasting impact on communities across the country. Park and recreation programs are essential to the community health and wellness, or well-being, and help cultivate lifelong friendships, memories, and family bonds that people hold dear for decades later. This year's theme, Built Together, Play Together, reminds us of contributions of more than 160,000 full-time park and recreation professionals, along with hundreds of thousands of part-time and seasonal workers and volunteers who maintain our country's close-to-home parks. I would like to ask the Recreation Commission show their support of our staff and all that they do by proclaiming July Parks and Recreation Month.
Do I need a motion, or can I just?
We need a motion? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can I have a?
to make the month.
And can I-
Second.
Okay, vote. Any comments, questions, anything about designating July Parks and Recreation Month?
I think it's a wholly appropriate move, being it's the kickoff of the season and the bulk of the recreation activities happen, so.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 500. I should read the proclamation? Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Burlington Parks and Recreation. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being, and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation is a leading provider of healthy meals, nutrition services, and education. And whereas Park and Recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas Burlington, Massachusetts recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now therefore be it resolved by the Burlington Recreation Commission that July is recognized as Parks and Recreation Month in the town of Burlington.
Good job, Lindsay.
So if everyone could sign that.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry.
Everyone could sign that. We will hang it in our lobby for all of our visitors to see, and we will also be going to the Select Board, as we've done in the past, asking them to also support July as Parks and Recreation Month.
Okay. As we're signing that, do you want to move on to the next item?
Yes, thank you. So our next item on, under new business is the revolving fund report. For any new members, four times a year, we provide a revolving account report. We do it in March, in June, in September, and then in December. Usually, that's when the quarters end, but by the time all invoices, thank you, and payrolls and things are processed, we usually do it, a month or so after, depending on how many invoices that we might be waiting on classes to finish up a little late. So the revolving account as of March 31st, 2025 has a balance of $273,731.56, of which $248,741.08 is reserved for programs, leaving $24,990.48 unreserved. And the staff, we would like to talk about some items that we need, and we would like to request the following expenditures from the revolving account. But I'll take any questions first before we get into any projects, if anyone has any questions.
I think so.
I do. So the 25,000 bucks that's left, you've already accounted for, since this is June 16th, that 248,000 is for all the expected expenditures from April 1st to June 30th.
From up until March, and then it starts over. So at the end of March, there was the total unreserved funds were 24,000. So some of those were reserved to pay out programs.
Right, so the 248
Yep.
is reserved for program expense April 1st,
yes.
April 1st through June 30th. No?
It is, no, it was, there's some there, yeah, because now we have another report that'll be due the end of this month, but that has all of our summer revenue intake in it.
Yes.
So it's, yes, the short answer is yes.
But it'll come back on the end. So like, we have this money, that we can expend right now.
No, I understand.
that-
I'm just trying to Look, I'm trying to understand it from an accounting timeline standpoint.
Yeah.
Right.
So yes, the 248 is what is reserved because we've collected money since that, yes, April 1st through,
So on April 1st, the 248,000 is what your expected expenses were for this current
are
fiscal
for this.
quarter?
Yes, correct. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
And so, and that $248,000, the $273,000, where does that come from? Does that come from authorizations from town meeting plus user fees, or just user fees?
Fees generated from our programs, facility permits, sponsors are in there as well. So people that do a yearly sponsorship, companies that pay us up front, and then they are, give their sponsorship dollars up front. That is in there as well.
Okay. All right.
So sometimes people will ask, oh, I want to know what the rec revolving account, and it could be 490,000. Like, look at all that money sitting there. But you see how it breaks down, bless you, in what is reserved. And we have to reserve forward because we haven't gotten through the latest quarter yet. So we do reserve the funds for that as well. So sometimes the number looks really big, but that's not truly what's in there because we are reserving money to pay for those.
It's the unreserved is what matters,
Right.
right? If that unreserved was a negative number, then it would be a different conversation.
We would have a very different conversation. But our staff works hard to make sure it's not,
All
it's
right.
not, yes,
They wouldn't be asking for anything.
that's right. Well, we'd be asking ways and means for a
Forgiveness.
transfer.
Yeah.
They'd be asking for forgiveness instead, right?
So,
You can go ahead.
okay. Our first item is a poster printer. So our program team often makes posters and signs for programs and events and prints them on 11 by 17 and has to cut and paste them all together. And then we put them on big A-frames that go out at events, notify people of maybe court closures or program changes at special events or event changes. So the process is time-consuming, and the posters are not professional-looking, fall apart quickly. So in an effort to enhance our department's ability to create high-quality visual materials in-house, providing both cost savings and increased efficiency, I am requesting the commission vote to appropriate $3,000, see those glasses being there, from the revolving account to purchase a poster printer.
Madam Chair, I move that the commission vote to appropriate $3,000 from the revolving account for the purchase of a poster printer.
I have a second.
Second.
Any questions?
Quick question. Matt, is this going to be able to laminate too? So we can have it, so it, it's protected?
We have a laminator, so this will be able to create larger, is it 30, 24 by? 36, okay. Posters that will, we can then run through our large laminator as well.
Okay, that's important.
So they would be laminated.
That's all I have.
How do you get a 34 on an 11 by 17?
We put a lot of 11 by 17s, like figure out what size letters you can get on 11 by 17s. Tape them together, run them through a laminator if they'll
okay.
fit. But sometimes as you're running it through, because it's not one solid sheet, you might get a shift. So then you're doing that all over again. So it's, told you, it is, they're very creative and they're very good at what they do. But providing them with this tool would help enhance our looks of our printed materials, but also save some time for them. So be able to print from the program right to the large printer.
So do you have any of those A-frames, those plastic A-frames that you could pick up and move? How big are those?
Those are 24 by 36,
I think they're a little bigger.
bigger than that, across
36 by 48.
36 by 48.
Yeah.
That seems big.
Or what you would see out on a sidewalk.
Yeah.
Same size. We probably have 10,
We have.
and then we
have
borrow,
five.
we borrow Board of Health.
Yeah, Board of Health.
When they're not using them for events, they're usually being used by us somewhere.
When you use those for events, what do you put in them, and where do you get that?
So we print, that's what we print and laminate.
That's what you laminate?
And slide it
okay.
in, yes.
And so the 11 by 17 will accomplish that?
If
A
you use
bunch
lot
of,
them.
a bunch of 11 by 17s. That's what we're taping together to run through the laminator.
How much is a bigger printer?
We're estimating the poster printer is 3,000 to 5,000, and we're going to take, we have some money in our operating budget that we're setting aside for this. So this 3,000 will pay for probably 2/3 of it. But I think that's the biggest we would need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's the size of the laminator you have too? Because then you're going to run into the problem of needing a new laminator because you can print larger than the
That's
laminator.
48
Oh, no.
inches?
Yeah,
Is it
it's a
4 feet?
4-foot roll.
That's
Yeah.
big.
That's big, yeah.
It's a big laminator,
big
yeah. It
laminator,
might
yeah.
be,
Is it 36?
might be 36, because it'll fit the width.
The 24, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it looks big.
So no, we won't be asking for a larger laminator. I say that, but,
Not yet.
yeah.
No, I was thinking of a larger printer that would fit the same size as the laminator. It's because I know you can print things smaller, on smaller sheets, as opposed to having to tape everything together.
Yeah.
So the larger printer, if you got but they're probably $100,000 once you go over above, 2 sheets of paper, like is what those are.
Yeah, so the 11 by 17, I think it fits, it's got to be 36 because it fits 2 of them next to each other, and there is a border of laminate. So we can put 2 11 by 17s through, slide it through. It's a big tray. So this printer would print in that full sheet. We think it's 36, so it'll fit through that laminator. We're good.
All right.
Move the question.
Move the question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
400.
Back in on I also.
500.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next item, as we began setting up our tablets for the summer, we quickly realized that we were in need of an upgrade. A number of the tablets, or these tablets are given out to all of our summer directors and our unit leaders at Club Simons, and used to communicate with their office and have access to our registration software and emergency contact information of our participants. I am requesting the commission vote to appropriate $5,000 from the revolving account for the purchase of 15 new iPads and cases for our seasonal staff.
Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the commission vote to appropriate the sum of $5,000 from the revolving account for the purchase of 15 new iPads and cases.
Second.
Questions?
I just want to have one quick.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Are we also supplementing this purchase with some other money from our regular account? Because it seems kind of cheap.
So we're getting a government rate on the iPads.
Oh, good.
We've already priced them.
Excellent.
Yes, through the town's contract with our service
The state
provider.
purchasing? Okay, good.
That's great. I mean, I'm sure some of these are about 5 years old, back when the COVID days,
And-
when each person had their iPad checking the Google Docs to make sure our surveys were done. So, yeah, I can understand why they're due for an upgrade. All right. Any other questions? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 500.
All right, our next item on new business is a dog park rule revision. So after speaking with the Animal Control Officer, Jamie Jeffrey, on the pet policy, we also discussed the rules for the dog park. Excuse me, she does spend a lot of time down there, and she made a couple suggestions that we add some items to a number of the rules, and I listed those out. And I shared the dog park, or we shared the dog park rules with everyone. And I'll go through the additions, if you're okay. I'll read them out, and I'll show, designate what the change was. So in rule number 4, the rule reads, "Dogs in heat, neutered males or younger than 6 months are not allowed in the park." So the unneutered males is what was added. She made that suggestion. In rule number 11, it deals with collars for dogs. The rule reads, "Choke, prong, spike, and shock collars are prohibited in the park. Another collar must be worn while in the park." So what was added was, and shock collars. We did not have that before, which are used for training. So she made the suggestion that we do not allow those in the park, which we feel a good suggestion. And then rule number 14, the rule reads, "These rules may be enforced by any member of the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department, the animal control officer, and/or any police officer. Failure to comply with these rules or any of the departments enforcing these rules may result in your removal or exclusion from the park." The phrase that was added, or the text that was added, is "the animal control officer and/or any police officer."
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Number 4, dogs in heat, unneutered males, or something younger than 6 months. Is it males and females, or is it just males? Or is it unneutered males that are younger than 6 months?
No, it's any dog younger than 6 months,
Okay,
because they don't have all their shots at that point.
so we should say that, I think. Or any dog younger than 6 months. After the word "or,"
Okay?
any dog. Because it almost looks like males younger than 6
Yep.
months.
So the unneutered males went in between dogs in heat or younger than 6 months.
Yeah.
So we could move the unneutered males to after younger than 6 months.
That's fine, too.
If you want to do
Yeah,
that.
I just wanted to be clear.
Okay.
I don't know how you police that.
No, but at least it's here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When you're down there and people do bring puppies and you do, we have had conversations and, we were the only ones here, we thought it'd be okay, but if another dog comes in, you don't want that interaction.
Oh, no, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
so.
It's just gonna be a little
And
hard to police.
it gives the animal control officer a, something
Yeah, it gives
to
them
point
some
to as well.
authority, yeah.
Yep.
No, absolutely. Any other comments?
No?
This is great. I'm glad she made these recommendations. So, thank you to the animal control officer for doing that with you.
Madam Chair, I move that the commission vote to approve the amended Burlington Dog Park rules.
Second.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, great. Next.
Okay, thank you. The next item under new business is the Simons Trust warrant article for September town meeting. So the second reading of the will of Marshall Simons is the only warrant article for September town meeting for us at this time. I would like to request a vote of the commission to accept from the trustees under the will of Marshall Simons the amount of $73,762.09 be used for programs, special events, and projects at Simons Park as listed in the backup from May town meeting.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved and
Second.
seconded.
All right, any questions or comments about this? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great. 500.
That's always the easiest one, Madam Chair.
Oh, it always is. Okay, that seems
How
to,
often does somebody say no?
Right.
as Bill Byer says, who wants to say no to free money? Okay, great, so that seems to take up new business, old business. We have quite a few policies to review and approve.
Where would you like to start?
You tell me, whatever you have on the
Okay,
top
well,
of your
I have
list.
non-resident registration on the top of mine.
I stayed with this list, so
Which one's
I,
first? None?
non-resident.
Okay, let me get that one.
So at the last commission meeting where we discussed this, there was no changes to this policy. I'm not sure if anyone had any time to read it and would like to make any additional changes, but
Madam Chair, I move that the commission vote to approve the non-resident registration policy as submitted.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 500.
The next one I have is the pet policy. Is that what's on the list? Okay. So after speaking with the animal control officer, Jamie Jeffrey, we have made a number of changes. We changed, well, I guess, would you like me to do it the same way Brennan just did his, and I'll read through and tell you what the changes were? Okay. So the following policy will be enforced at department-sponsored outdoor programs and events. The first bullet, pets must be under control instead of well-mannered, I think was there before, around crowds and other dogs. The second bullet, pets must be short-leashed, 6 feet or less, with a leash in hand, under control, again, instead of well-mannered, and by your side at all times. Retractable and/or extended leashes are prohibited. That last sentence was added to that one. Pets are not permitted in confined areas such as playgrounds, fenced-in courts, or in picnic areas. We added fenced-in courts. The next bullet, pet owners are required to immediately pick up after their pets. And we added, as outlined in the Town of Burlington General Bylaws, Article 13, Section 2.7. We added this next bullet altogether. Pets must wear a current license ID and rabies tag. And any damage caused by the pet are the responsibility of the pet owner. If a pet exhibits signs of aggression, such as growling, excessive barking, lunging, or biting, the owner will be required to remove the pet immediately. Excessive barking was added. And then the last sentence was also added, this policy may be enforced by any member of the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department, the animal control officer, and/or any police officer.
Madam Chair, I move that the commission vote to approve the revised Burlington Parks and Recreation pet policy as submitted.
I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Comments?
Are we going to be able to put this on the signs that we just made, that we just voted for?
New laminated signs.
Oh,
There's a lot of stuff on this.
that one, those signs will be remade. They're metal, and they come with an outdoor vinyl
Yeah.
that goes on them, so they can be rained on and over and over and over again.
Okay.
So yes, we'll make new signs for the dog park.
I like it. Can we put this on the town common, though, too? For our special events, we're going to be able to have this, right? On our special, because we talked about, like, special events, we want this to be there for, like, Celebrate
Talked about
Burlington.
yard signs, right? Like the yard
Yeah,
signs
just
that
like,
go
just
in.
like.
Go
Yep.
up
we can-
around.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
can
so we
do
can
a
have them
number
there,
of
that's when we have a ton of dogs, and that's when we could run into problems, so, just so, like, at special events, we have those signs out. You know, just, I know this was dog park, but more for the special events on the common.
One quick comment, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I think I'd like to thank the animal control officer. I think the changes she suggested are excellent. It's a good policy.
Yeah, she did a phenomenal job. All those in favor?
Aye.
500.
The next one I have is the personal photography and recording policy. So the change here, let me just see, we removed any references to events, and it just says programs, and then we added the word personal and professional photography in the first line.
I have a
Madam Chair,
motion?
I move that
Sorry,
the
I'm reading it.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, you
I'll
can,
get it out there.
Commissioner Nelson's awesome at doing these motions.
Madam Chair, I move that the commission vote to approve the Burlington Parks and Recreation personal photography and recording policy as revised and submitted.
I have a second.
Second.
Questions, comments?
I think it's clearer.
Yeah, very much
I think it's
clearer.
better than it was than the first draft, so thanks for those changes.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. 500.
I have equipment rental policy next. For the equipment rental policy, we added recreation to the title, so it is now going to read recreation equipment rental policy. We also added the following line at the end: all equipment must be returned in the same condition in which it was issued. Failure to do so may result in charges up to the full replacement cost.
That's good, Madam Chair. I vote that the commission, I move that the commission vote to approve the recreation equipment rental policy with the revisions as submitted.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, any questions, comments?
Just one quick one for me. So the return in the same condition in which is issued, so do any of these equipment have like wear and tear items? Because that would be a bit unrealistic for in the same condition, or, you know what I mean?
We could say substantially, and substantially. the same
Beyond normal wear and tear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because like if there's wear and tear items where it's, you know, you expect some level of use, and showing that use would be a little bit unrealistic for folks, and not that we would do that, just.
Fair. So you want to amend it?
I don't know if I have the right words to say that.
Well, if I may, Madam Chair, there's
Yes, sir.
two different ways I think you could do it.
Yeah.
We could say in substantially the same condition, or we could say in the same condition, comma, reasonable wear and tear accepted.
Yeah, that's good. The common sense.
You know, because,
You know,
yeah, if you rent,
You rent something out and then it comes back and it's demolished. I mean, common sense says you're gonna pay for it, but like if it's got like a nick or something on it, you know, if it, you know, we're not gonna charge them, but you're not gonna write that in the policy, but, what you,
I said,
your
yeah,
your
I
I
amendment
like the
sounds good.
reasonable wear and tear accepted.
Reasonable wear and tear accepted, yeah.
Okay, so that sentence will now, I just want to read it to make sure we're all set.
Yes.
All equipment must be returned in the same condition, reasonable wear and tear expected, in which it was issued?
Accepted.
Except not expected.
Accepted, that's what I meant, I'm sorry. I wrote accepted and said accepted.
Okay, so we will be changing that, so should we,
I was going to say put it at the end after the word issued,
Okay.
Kelly, instead of in the middle.
Yeah. Okay.
so should we forego voting on this?
Oh, Madam Chair, I move that the commission vote to approve the recreation equipment rental policy as submitted with the additional language of reasonable wear and tear accepted after the word issued.
Okay, can I have a
Final
second on that?
sentence.
Second.
All right, any more questions on that amendment? All right, all of those in favor?
Aye.
500.
The next one I have is fishing permits at Mill Pond Reservoir, and there was no changes to this policy.
Which one? Mill Pond?
Fishing permits at Mill Pond.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the commission vote to approve the fishing permits at Mill Pond Reservoir policy as submitted.
Second?
Second.
All right. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 500.
And the last one is balances written off. The words "or waived" was added to both the last sentences in each paragraph. So the new sentence will read, "If the debt is considered uncollectible, the participant's household will be deactivated and will not be reactivated until the outstanding debt has been satisfied or waived." In the first paragraph, the second paragraph would read, "Enrollment in programs and/or events will not be allowed until the outstanding debt balance has been satisfied or waived."
Madam Chair, I move that the commission vote to approve the balances written off policy with the amendments submitted.
I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
No.
All those in favor? Aye. 500.
Thank you.
I have one
That seems to be
question. Is that it for the policies for a while? Are we all done with the policies?
No, we have a couple that are, we have a few that are going to town council. We have a few that we're currently working on.
Okay.
We have a broader list of all of the policies we're aiming for, and we are about a third of the way there, maybe?
Okay, all right.
Maybe.
So that we know.
Still better than the school committee list. That was almost a year's worth of work every meeting.
I know, and I remember those days.
A little arduous.
Yeah, so one of our goals for a while has been to redo our policy manual, which has a lot of procedures in it that aren't really policies. So we've been trying to work on these and trying to get maybe the easier ones out of the way first before we get into some more
Oh, they're important, they're very important.
They are.
I'm glad we're updating them, just trying to get a sense of how many more we have.
Not done yet.
We have to skip a few meetings.
All right, that seems to be all of old business, so I think we can just make the agenda for the next, or at least set the date for the next meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, let's try.
All right, which would be in July. I don't know what everyone else's schedule is like as far as vacations.
Week of July is out.
Well, obviously, I'm thinking the earliest we would even think about doing this would be like the week of the 14th. However, again, I don't know what everyone's schedule looks like.
So 15th is definitely out for me, facilities assessment and school building committee.
That's out for me too. Look at that.
16th, I can do. 17th is okay.
The 14th work
14th,
I don't have anything.
is the Monday,
the Monday, which is normal
Yeah.
for us. So,
bless you.
bless you. Does the 14th work for everybody?
That's the only day that works for me.
That works? Yeah. All right, July 14th. Oh,
I got a new phone, so it takes me a while. Looks good.
that works? All right, so we will plan on July 14th.
6 o'clock?
Sure.
All right, I will look at securing the room, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect. Is there anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you. Can I have a second on the motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 500.